Hi, I'm Jim Curry. I was one of the folks at Rackspace who led the formation of OpenStack. I can't believe here at the 2-year mark where what we've achieved. So many companies, so many developers, so much success in a short period of time. The world has really bought into the mission and vision of Open Cloud, and we just want to hear what people think about it. They were involved in the founding of it, and so we're going to walk around and talk to some of the Rackers that were integral to the initial startup and ultimately success of the project. We're coming up on a big date for OpenStack. On August 1st, the public cloud goes live on Nova. It's been a big date. We've been working towards it 2 years. How do you feel about that?
This is Jim Curry reporting from...
Well, look, I think we started this to be the engine of our public cloud. That was the promise of it. We run the second biggest cloud in the world. And I think that the community, much of the community got behind the effort because of that commitment. And I think that when we actually do it and actually show to the world that this code base can run the second largest cloud, I think it's going to really change people's perception of OpenStack. And it's the start of what I think is going to be a huge number of really big, really interesting, really exciting deployments of OpenStack. And it's a start of a great next chapter, the real chapter of real deployments and OpenStack really changing the world.
How did the company that gave birth to Fanatical Support give birth to OpenStack?
Well, I think that Fanatical Support at heart is an open idea. It's the idea of being transparent with customers. It's not driving our own technology agendas. We've been supporting Microsoft and Linux from the beginning because that's what customers wanted. We're not trying to push a technology down their throats, but I think that open is about ultimately putting the customer's need first. No customer wants to be locked in. Every customer wants the ability to leave you. And it's hard to give people the keys to leave you. A lot of companies just want to absolutely bar the door. And I think that from the beginning we said we're going to build the company on happy customers. When customers don't fit us, we should let them leave. It's too important to them to fence them in.
Why do you think it has been so successful as a project?
Well, our view is that the data center is the modern computer. And there is going to be an open source operating system of that modern computer. There's proprietary versions like VMware and Amazon. There's going to be Linux. And the world really craved a Linux alternative and recognizes that there needs to be an operating system of the data center. And so the fact that we committed so hard behind it, the fact that NASA did, the fact that so many great technology companies did right from the beginning, created momentum around it. And the code base had great promise, and the world needs it.
Is there anything that's happened to date with OpenStack or our development of it that surprised you?
Well, first of all, we're still contributing a lot of the code, but it's only a fraction. I mean, we're only contributing a fraction of the total code. That means that our development is happening twice as fast.
Okay, what has this done for our culture? I mean, open source is something we've always been involved in. We never led it, certainly not at the large scale that we're doing today. How do you feel this has changed our culture, good or bad?
I think the really interesting thing is when I wear an OpenStack logo out somewhere and people have stopped me in the airport to ask, how am I involved in this? And to be able to tell them the story that we were there on the ground floor and my involvement specifically, it's a really neat story.
You didn't plan on it being open sourced initially, so when that idea came up, how did you feel?
Well, it's interesting. There were kind of different percolations of talking about open sourcing it. I had kind of brought up open sourcing Swift a while back, and we had actually just kind of gotten finished with talking with legal and getting it approved, and I had kind of thought, oh great, well now we have about 3 or 4 months to kind of work on it and kind of clean things up for getting it ready to add documentation, get rid of all the bad comments in the code and things like that. But then you came, I think, and told me, okay, we're going to release it at OSCON, and so you have 2 weeks. And
I think you had a choice.
So had about 2 weeks to get ready, and so we kind of went into a frantic rush, and that was what became the 1.0 release of Swift.
Through the Essex release, which had about 230 contributors, we are on track to do in 2 years what it took Linux about 12 years to do. How does that make you feel?
That makes me feel just awesome. I mean, and what happens is that this is not something that just benefits Rackspace. Of course it benefits Rackspace, and we're going to be working like the dickens to make sure that our OpenStack, that our open cloud in total is just awesome, and it's going to be customer focused and provide great options and value and performance But the fact is that when you have that number of companies collaborating at that pace, it's because they see its potential.
How do you say happy birthday in Python?
Print happy birthday? I don't know. It's like, that's too easy. So happy birthday, OpenStack. It's been a great 2 years.